as far as what we had talked about with him. He's very, very supportive of these type activities. He thinks, in fact, he went and he told me about when his son was growing up that he had worked with him in buying some Rhode Island Reds to produce eggs with, and it helped him build a lot for it. And he told him he would buy the food for the chickens if he would feed and water the chickens and sell the eggs. And he said it was one of the most rewarding times of interaction between him and his son in his whole life. And that's one of the pluses that we'll see, I think, in these kind of things involving kids in these type things and things of that nature, that because we're going to have to start training a whole lot of farmers, because there's not a lot of farmers. As you said, there's a whole generation of us that kind of lost that training. Mine not included, because I've hoed plenty of cornfields in my life. But he is very positive about this type of thing. I also talked with him about linking or trying to make a market for it with the other school systems and the surrounding school systems and stuff, and that's something that he's aware that we may want to look at in the future, so that, you know, as we produce more, we would have that ability to be able to sell more also. So, and I don't know that there's anywhere else they're doing these kind of, like we're talking about doing as far as, and that's the next step we had talked about above what we're talking about now, but he was very positive about this program.
And we have producers already selling. This isn't a if it's going to happen. It's already happening. I had a producer last week that I took through that whole system of becoming a vendor, signing up, making sure he knew who to talk to, how to do the papers. I want to make this as easy as I can. He sold 30 dozen eggs like that last week, and it was a drop in the bucket, and he got paid $2.65 a dozen, or $2.75 a dozen for those eggs. So certainly not a large amount as far as, you know, production and feeding the schools, but it was the first person through the door, so I felt really good. And we do have others that are selling locally to the school as well. So it's happening. It's just a matter of getting more people onto the bus, so to speak, to do it. So. Anyone else would like to speak to mine?
This Saturday, we're having sign-ups at the Woodfield Volunteer Fire Department, active to Morrisville, Woodfield Station. We sent out about 550 invitations for this weekend. I'd like to invite the commission and anyone else that'd like to volunteer and go around. We have several volunteers that's going to go door to door. We'll be there signing them up. We need help. Anyone who can get out there and help us out, I appreciate it.
Mike's will wear that on his back all day.
Anyone else?
Getting on the road with that.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about making State Park, the Mud River Dam into a state park?
Well, the only thing that I did when I talked to the governor the other day, I was going to get into that here in a minute, was I told him of our wish to try to do that, to try to get a state park established up there. And of course, he listened to me quite a while ago. I think it's probably a pretty good process to go through from what I gather, and I think we found that out before. But I do think, as I talked with Mr. McCann and KK about, is that we need to get the senators involved, Senator Kirkendall and Senator Stallings involved, but the governor is aware of our wish to try to convert that to a state park. So, but I don't, having dealt with that thing before, I know it's an involved process that goes through the legislature and things like that. So, but I think he would be in our corner when we try to do that. So, and I explained to him, basically we don't, all of the surrounding counties here have those type facilities, and we don't. And I think that's a good argument. I probably do that with everything, saying we don't have that. But until we do have it, we have to be truthful and say we don't have it. We don't have a state park. We don't have a stocked trout impoundment here to be in our stocks for us. But all those things, I think, are within, especially some of the small things are within reach and within the next few years. But I really would hope that we could develop that into a park and have camping and things like that there. Offer we could offer so much more, I think, in that kind of a setting than we can with it being just the wildlife management area it is now, because they seem to be very resistant to any type of talking about camping or anything. They have particular laws they're following and things of that nature, but, yeah, that is one of the things I think we need to pursue till we find it's not feasible to do. And I've got, you know, when we originally talked with Walt Helmick and some of those people in the Parks Committee, they didn't think it was possible. And now it's not possible, but we gotta figure out how to do it. So we're kinda in that figure out how to do it stage, so, which is better than what we had before, I think. But, you know, I just don't really know, but I do think it's important, and I think, the pluses far outweigh the minuses if we could do that.
Anyone else? Commissioners, I have a letter here that's also in your file from the West Virginia Lottery. We have been getting limited video lottery distributions in the amount of, let's see if I got a print out here also, probably about $7,000 a year. However, we have been getting some in the amount of $16,314.47 shipping going to Logan. The Evans Hotspot 2 in Chapmanville is, their mailing address is in Lincoln County, their physical address is in Logan County, and they want us to set up a repayment plan in the amount of $16,314.47.
Sounds like they've been on the wrong page.
Play cards.
Will they give you your money back for losing lottery tickets?
It's the government.
Well, I think actually,
Start off with
could
your
they not,
inform you.
to me, if they're gonna get it back, now just take it from what they're gonna pay us in the future, instead of just taking money and giving it back to you. Yeah, I think it
We've already
says
spent
somewhere.
this money.
Well, I think it says we can pay back over a period of time or whatever, but my suggestion would be that whatever they're gonna pay us, they take it out of that in the future. So it wasn't our fault. I don't know what we could have done differently.
Yeah.
We fully anticipate they'll do their job and we'll try to do our job, but I think if we're gonna address that, I think one of the future funds will be in that year.
Yeah, it's kind of like the IRS, there's not a whole lot you can do.
That's all I have, commission concern. Do you want to wait or
I could go now. First thing I wanted to bring up is this letter concerning Mr. Triplett that I received from Nick Rahal concerning a road being blocked or not blocked or things of that nature. But what I was going to ask the commission would be okay to maybe have the prosecuting attorney look at this and see what they think about it. Because I think, have we dealt with this before?
Yes, been a year probably. Haven't dealt with it.
So if that would be okay, I would ask the prosecutor to take a look at this for us. Does that sound right? Yes.
Sounds good.
The other thing I have, I've already mentioned, I got to meet with the governor. I was very lucky to get up there and talk with him for probably 40 minutes the other Friday. I brought with him some of the concerns I've already mentioned, and really that's, the only thing I've got to say is it's, you know, and I've met with Governor Manchin and Governor Wise and things like that, but this governor really has an interest in our area, in our county, and our people. And everything I brought up, he basically he put it into a category of what we could do with it. And, you know, a lot of times when you meet with people and talk with them, they tell you the things you want to hear while you're there. When you leave, you don't always know it's going to be that way. This is not this kind of governor. He's very much concerned about us and the things we do, and that's why I think there may be a future in some of these things we couldn't get done before that we can get done now. I did meet with April, and we talked about this program. She's also going to request some help in her office. And what I'd like her to do, I think we've got the job description you give us today. I haven't looked at it or anything, but probably what we would need you to do is come before the commission and explain exactly why you need this person and how much it's going to cost us and things like that. So does that sound all right with the commission? So if you can in the future, if you could come to us and do that, then we'll address it and go from there. I would like to take this time to ask the office holders, when we do our budget meetings in March, to bring a jobs description for each position in your office. And that way we will know a little bit more about how we're set up and things of that nature. The other thing that April and I had talked about was having WVU come down, what is the economics?
Our human resources officer and part of her group there have done this in other counties where they've needed assistance with equal opportunity policy or sexual harassment policy or just county policy in general, especially job descriptions. So, you know, they've done the job description for the assessor in county XYZ. So it will be very easy for them to also come here and assist us in doing that same thing. Should that be a need that you would ask for, they can certainly do that. And my understanding is there'd be no charge for that, because we do, a part of what we are tasked to do, we have a department that's dedicated to nothing but community economic workforce development. And we have agents that do that just as much as I do agriculture, and they're assigned in different counties. So a part of what we are supposed to do is that very thing in the counties, and so we can see that happen if that would be something the commission would like us to pursue.
My thoughts were the fact that we were getting these job position descriptions and things like that, and take the information that maybe they could give, especially if it's free, and kind of take the two of them and look at how we work and how we function in the courthouse and things like that, and then go from there. Does that sound okay? So quick as we could, I think did you send me anything on that today or not?
Kim Suter, who's the HR director for Extension, will be at the Extension Service Committee meeting on January 31st
And
at
I will be
4:30.
attending that one, so
So,
we can talk.
and if you would like to see her show up before that or to stay after that, I can certainly ask her that, and she's more than happy. She offered that actually on the phone today when I spoke to her about that.
Well, if it's okay with the commission, I'll talk with her about it then, and bring that information to the commission.
I think
So,
that would be good to have that before we get the job description.
well, we won't be getting those till March,
Right.
anyway, so maybe we could, if we could get her down here, you know, because we're gonna look at this information in March, when we talk with the office holders and things of that nature, so I don't know what her schedule would be, but, that might be something that we would like, if possible, to get done as soon as possible, so we can.
I'll call her tomorrow and ask her what her earliest day is that she can make herself available, and then ask her to come on that day, and then I'll get back with you and let you know what that day is.
That'd be fine. Does that sound okay, guys?
Agree with me.
I had a conversation with Jeff Lust Saturday before last. He's the executive director of Hatfield-McCoy Trail Systems. We talked about the McCorkle site, as well as I was concerned about the Big Ugly area, because I had several people from up in that area come to me and say, well, why did the commission stop letting four-wheelers on the Big Ugly public hunting area? And just so everyone knows what happened, this commission was not involved at all in those discussions. It was a discussion that occurred between Forest Land Management, that owns the Big Ugly public hunting area, and the West Virginia DNR. Hatfield-McCoy Trail Systems was represented by Jeff Lust for part of the day. And when it became obvious that the West Virginia DNR was going to renew their contract with Forest Land Management in August of this year, he was told basically, we don't need you here, so you can take off leave. So neither Hatfield-McCoy Trails nor the Lincoln County Commission had anything to do with the Big Ugly public hunting area being restricted as far as ATVs. And it's Jeff's feeling, Mr. Lust's feeling, that probably after they signed the August agreement, that they'll probably not enforce that law anyway. So, but now that's him thinking that's what's going on. Because what happened was Forest Land Management's people were very upset with the way the DNR, it's my understanding now that this is what happened. They were very upset with the way it was being managed in that area, which was no management at all, I think. They basically weren't taking care of the things they're supposed to be taking care of. They weren't, and I guess there was trash being dumped in areas that people had been going in there and things. So they were really upset with that, but they worked out an agreement with the DNR, and we feel they'll sign that agreement for another several years in August. So when people find that they can't ride ATVs over Big Ugly public hunting area as they can over at Mud River, it's the same DNR that's doing both those. And, you know, it's, I don't know, I have, I feel people should always do their job, so I think they're kind of overreacting to the fact they didn't do their job. And they're trying to show Forest Land Management, we can do this job. But in the process, it's restricting access for the people in the Harts area and things like that, so. And there's really nothing we can do about that now, but it was the feeling of the people at Hatfield McCoy that probably after this thing was signed in August, that all that would kind of, and it may not, because I know they enforce the law over the Mud River area, but they were seeing very little in the Big Ugly area and things of that nature, and I think they're making more of to be more visible there, not only to the public, but to Forest Land Management. Having said that, there will be no trail system in the Big Ugly area. But what I talked to Jeff Lusk about was the extension of a connector between the East Lynn Trail System, which has already been mapped, and Harts. So we'd have a connector that would take you from Harts. You could park in Harts and access the trail system in Wayne County from there. You could also, if you needed to go to the store or get gas or things of that nature, you could come from the Wayne County system to us, which is much closer than even going into Wayne, because they were talking about building a connector into Wayne, and they still may do that. But I told Jeff that we really were interested in making a connector from that trail system into Harts, seeing we weren't going to get any economic benefit from a Big Ugly system. And I think they're real amenable to that. I've also mentioned that to Senator Kirkendall, who has sat on the Hatfield McCoy Board of Directors with me when I was on. He was chairman of the board, so he knows those people really well, and I think he will try his best to honor our wishes in Lincoln County. The Ivy Branch system is set, I guess, to open June 1st. I think if Ferris was here, we know a bit more about it. The thing that Jeff and I also talked about was the need to engage all those landowners over in there about what we need as far as lodging, as far as any of those accessory things that Hatfield McCoy people do when they come and things of that nature. We have the advantage, this trail system, like we've talked before, will be for 4x4s also, not just ATVs and UTVs. This is the only trail system that will be that way. So we have the advantage of getting all that extra business into that trail system that way. You know, the South Charleston has the advantage of having lodging now, but any lodging that we can get from people in that area is very important, because that's one of the main problems we've had at other areas where we've had people stay in tents beside the main road and have water splashed up on them by vehicles going by. So that's kind of, people will do anything to ride these trail systems. But we really got to do our best to try to engage those landowners in that area to get involved in this process and to make investments and assure them that, you know, they're going to make money from these things. This is